What's up, Wolverines, and welcome to this year's first edition of Waiver Wire. I'm Jake Camejo.
I'm Victor Torres.
And I'm Matthew Barturin.
So, guys, how was the first week of football?
It was great. A lot of great games. A lot of good overtime games. Like Bengals Steelers.
A lot of upsets as well.
Great games, I would say.
Saw a lot of good performance. A couple players came back, had a strong start. Patrick Mahomes came out, threw 5 touchdowns. He's still him.
He is him. So let's get into our pickup of the week. Vic, what's yours?
My pickup player is Jeff Wilson. So after the injury to Elijah Mitchell, they need somebody to step in, and Jeff Wilson's been that guy for them. He's a veteran player for the 49ers, and he knows that offense very well. They're coming off a pretty weak game offensively, so I think they'll rely a lot more on their run game than they will their pass game. Jeff Wilson has proven to be a starter for them in the past 3 games that he's had to start for them. 230 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's a reliable back that they can definitely trust, and I think they're going to fall back on him this week against the Seahawks.
Matt, what's yours?
I'm going to have to go with Gerald Henderson. He's only rostered in 46.8% of leagues, which is kind of surprising, considering how well he's done when he's come in the game. He played 82% of the snaps, which is surprising, considering Cam Akers' expectations for this year. Definitely thought Cam Akers was going to get more of a workload, but turns out it was the other way around. He had 13 carries, 47 yards, and receiving, he had 5 catches for 26 yards. So honestly, solid performance, solid fantasy output, and also he has a matchup against the Falcons this week, which is, a weaker defense. So I think he'll have a blowout game.
Yeah, definitely a favorable matchup. My pickup of the week is a name from last year that we all remember, Khalil Herbert from the Bears. Now he's only rostered in 25.2% of leagues. He's in his second year, and even though in this past week against the 49ers when they won, he had half the carries of David Montgomery, he still outrushed him. He had 9 carries for 40 yards and a touchdown and 1 reception, but it was minimum 1-yard gain. So I think he's going to slowly but surely pick it up. He's not a guy you're going to start right away, but maybe later in the season, get more touches, and volume is key in fantasy.
It's true.
So since we're talking about pickups, let's get into our starts. Vic, who's yours?
I have Gerald Everett. So they're coming off another good win against the Raiders. So the Chargers kind of need to pick something up after the injury to Keenan Allen. And Gerald Everett, he's most likely available in your league. He's only picked up in about 13% of fantasy leagues, and he played over 60% of the snaps for the Chargers. So he's looking to, I think this week he's going to improve his volume. He's coming off a 4-target game, but with 3 catches on 50 yards and a very impressive touchdown catch. So I think they're going to look to him a lot more since Keenan Allen's down this week.
Yeah, and that Thursday night showdown against Kansas City is going to be a big offensive game.
They're going to need to air the ball out to make sure that they get ahead.
Matt, what's your start of the week?
My start of the week is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Personally, one of my favorites in terms of fantasy output. This week, he had 8 receptions for 64 yards and a touchdown. Very solid performance in an improving offense. He is the main target. He's the heartbeat of the offense for the Detroit Lions. And I think as the team keeps improving, his numbers will go only up.
Yeah, last year that 5-game stretch was crazy at the end of the year.
Crazy.
So, talking about favorite players in the NFL, my start of the week is Jarvis Landry. Who that? But they're playing the Bucs this week, and the Bucs, again, it's a tough defense, and he should rack up catches going against that secondary. He's a slot guy competing with Chris Olave and Mike Thomas for those reps. But I'll tell you this right now, he got 9 targets, 7 catches, and 114 yards against a weaker Falcons defense. But still, great numbers in fantasy. He had 18 points last week. So, what I think is going to happen is that Jameis is going to lead towards him more. Mike Thomas is going to get open, but a great week from him too last week. But Jarvis Landry is going to get a lot of targets this week because he's one of the reads that Jameis Winston goes to, and I think he's going to do great this week, even though he's going against a good Buccaneers defense. And talking about Cam Akers earlier in the show, Vic, who's your sit of the week?
My sit is Cam Akers. He's coming off an absolutely horrendous game. 3 carries for 0 yards and got ridiculously outproduced by Darrell Henderson, who's Matty B's pickup of the week. Darrell Henderson played 82% of the snaps. Henderson took the other 18% and did nothing with it. He was missing blocks. He could not get production with the ball, and he's pretty much kind of just lost his role in the offense before he even got a role. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting Cam Akers.
Definitely, that performance was abysmal on
and
Thursday
night. It was surprising too, considering his expectations.
Yeah, well, but the Achilles injury, you don't know how people are going to bounce back from that. So
it's a tough injury.
Let's see how it goes.
Running backs.
Yeah, exactly. Running backs is terrible. So let's see how we progress it throughout the year. Mm-hmm. Matt, for this week, who's your sit?
My sit is Mike Gesicki from the Dolphins. It's tough to rag on a Dolphins player, but he had a tough week last week. Only 1 catch for 1 yard. We expected this, considering his contractual issues, and the improvement of Durham Smythe, who is the Dolphins' rising tight end primary target. And we also play the Ravens this week. Last year against the Ravens, he had a terrible game, caught 0 of 7 targets in that game. So tough game for him, tough start to the season for him. But, as a Dolphins fan, hopefully he comes back. Hopefully he proves me wrong. But for now, I'm gonna have to sit him.
Playing that tough Ravens defense can't be easy for anyone, but
No,
especially Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, I made the mistake of starting him last week in fantasy, and I lost last week, let's say the least. But speaking of the Dolphins-Ravens matchup, I'm talking about a Ravens player on the offensive side of the ball, Rashod Bateman. Now, I know everyone's thinking, he's a receiver 1 in the offense. Why are you doing this? Last week, it's not a bad Jets secondary with Sauce Gardner and Bryce Hall, and they're young, but they're not as good as they used to be. I mean, they're still getting better, but they're not as good. And he's playing a Dolphins defense, which is, I know you guys don't know this, but one of the top defenses in the NFL.
It's true.
And
Agreed. You're far too close.
I know, sorry, but Xavier Howard is going to shut him down. He only had, here's the stats: 4 targets, 2 catches for 59 yards, and he had a deep touchdown, which it was lucky towards the end and that's why he got only 13 points last week. So I think he's going to get locked up by Xavier Howard or even Eric Rowe. Anyone on that Dolphins secondary, I think he's going to lock him up. So I think it's going to be a Mark Andrews game. Lamar's going to dump it off and run around the defense, which we see him do all the time. But guys, any of the final thoughts going into week 2?
Excited for more football.
Yeah, can't complain about more football.
Well, Wolverine Nation, that's a show for this week. We'll come back next week to see who won that crown. I'm Jay Camejo.
I'm Victor Torres.
And I'm Matthew Barturin.
And we'll see you next week.